Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Dev. We're celebrating the month of October by working on yet another spooky game. Today we'll start by working on the basics for control and movement of our main character. This will help us set up the rest of the project going forward and give us a better idea of what to expect in the future. That's the plan, so let's get to it. Now, before we begin, let's talk about what we're trying to make. A while back, I tried working on an autorunner game, my first autorunner game, but I wanted it to be different, and in trying to do so, ended up making something very similar to another project. So I decided to shelve the autorunner idea until I had something better. And I think the time has finally come. We'll be meshing the concept of an autorunner with another idea I had from last year, our Thanksgiving project that featured a headless naked turkey and a laser beam. Now in that project, a turkey would run around the play area in random directions, and it was up to the player to not only keep it away from incoming dangers, but also use the turkey's laser to blast dead enemies. It was weird. Now, crazy laser aside, I really like the idea of having a game where players are not in direct control of the hero. So you may already see where we're going with this. The plan is to make an outrunner style game where the player does not have direct control over the hero. In this case, it's a scared little ghost just trying to make it to the end of the level. The player will control a ghostly pointer who will be able to help navigate the ghost through oncoming dangers, much like in the Thanksgiving project. Now, I do have some art in the works to make this project pretty, but for now we're using temp doodles. However, in case you are curious, here's a preview of what I expect the art to look like. So with that all said, let's get to the coding. First, we needed to create our ghost friend. All we really needed for now were direction and speed variables, and to start I wanted to get the quote-unquote bounce effect going anytime the ghost hits an edge of the play area. The bounce would send the ghost in the opposite direction with a bit of an added angle for variation and unexpectedness. And so far so good, our code works and our ghost now does what we need it to do when it hits the edges of the play area. So with that done, I moved on to the assist ghost, which the player would control. I tied the assist ghost position to the mouse, and then I used our slow turning code to have the cursor's aim direction point towards the ghost. I decided not to use the image angle here to avoid hitbox issues. And luckily so far things were going very smoothly. Our assist did exactly what we wanted, and for the most part our bounce code has yet to result in the ghost getting stuck. So up next I wanted to work on the specifics tied to the ghost's movement direction. First, I wanted to create a flip effect for the ghost similar to the effect used in Paper Mario. I first tried to base the flip on the ghost's direction, but because direction has no numerical boundaries in GameMaker, it wasn't possible without some extra math. Math I tried to figure out on the fly, but I mean, come on. It's me. The only thing worse than my luck are probably my math skills. So instead I went with movement speed to determine direction. The speed would alternate between positive and negative, and with a slight tweak to the direction code I was able to get the same directional results with the added bonus of something concrete to compare numbers to. So now that I could check for speed direction, using a simple clamp allowed me to easily animate the flip effect I was after. Crisis averted, I thought, so I decided to move on to some basic interactivity between player and ghost. I checked for a left click and collision between ghost and player. If both are successful, I had the ghost bounce like it did with the level edges, but this time in relation to the player's position. This kind of worked, but not like I was hoping. First, the constant flipping wasn't intended, but a side effect of the way we handle directional shifts. And second, the movement changes were inconsistent because in reality this was not a good way to handle directional movement, especially when movement is this important to the gameplay. But perhaps I was a little too critical. I decided to add a quick danger to the game to be sure. The danger object works like it did in the autorunner project, simply moving right to left until off screen. And having these dangers spawn didn't change my opinion on the broken mess that was our current movement code. And despite my efforts to change the directional references, nothing worked like I wanted. The main issue was the fact that direction was technically infinite in GameMaker. While visually something can only spin 360 degrees, GameMaker does not reset once 360 is exceeded, meaning if you keep adding or subtracting 10 from a character's direction, they will visually rotate accordingly, but under the hood the numbers just keep going, and unless you math it out, that number is near useless. Which is the reason I had to stop working on the project here. I couldn't move forward without figuring out the math so that rotation numbers were no longer infinite. But luckily, since recording, I have figured out the solution, and so future work should go much smoother. But for now, that brings us to the abrupt end of today's episode of Let's Dev. So remember that if you like this video or enjoy Let's Dev in general, be sure to hit that like button. If you aren't already subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. And as always, be sure to leave your thoughts on our progress in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time!